Divya, tomorrow's your last day at
It
Braziers, or
is.
today is your last full day.
It is.
So, can you talk a bit about your experience here?
Yeah, what can I say? I think a lot more of my experiences here have been like so much more subtle than I expected. I think they're probably the things that I'll take back. Yeah, I feel groups are really powerful environments to reflect your own personality and your strengths and maybe things you're not so good at. And so I think that yeah, they're like perfect mirrors. So that was definitely a learning I've taken back from here. And I guess race as a way of slowing you down. So that can be really powerful to have that space, and it's given me some space to kind of reflect and just to be a bit more. And yeah, so that's been really powerful.
Do you want to talk a bit about some of the learning processes that you've...
The learning processes. Well, I think here everyone is given a voice. So perhaps like on a personal level, where I tend to have like a lot more roles of responsibility and leadership, but it's been nice to take a step back and to see how that feels and works. And that's been quite hard sometimes, so that's been a learning for me. And yeah, I guess like very different personalities all kind of gather together here. So and I feel like I'm relatively tolerant and kind of adaptable and flexible, but there's always room for more. And I think also just like watching my initial judgments and perceptions, and then how as I've stayed here for months, they've changed and they keep changing. So I feel like that in holding on to a particular viewpoint has perhaps eased, and I've kind of started to adapt more fluidity in my outlooks on things in general. So, and not being so rigid on my perceptions and views. So yeah, I think as I said, they're more subtle but important.
Yeah, and Braziers really like seeks to give the right conditions for learning to occur in a holistic, integrative way. And you've talked about you've talked a lot about that in relation to the course that you did, and then these and then this, what you've just said about your experience, how you've kind of learned things that perhaps you hadn't intended, because when you go on a course, like you go with expectations and some intentions, and perhaps what's interesting is also the things that come about more organically without intention.
I think that's what I got told here once, like it's about unlike minds coming together, because when I first came here, I was really struggling, because I was like, what is this place, and why is everyone coming together? And it's interesting because it's defined, and how do you get a community to work if you haven't got like a clear common intention?
And have those questions been addressed or answered? The why and how?
Not so succinctly, but I guess people all come together this is definitely as a venue, as a school, to teach. Like, people come together to make this place work so that it can host those events. So I definitely feel that's a clear coming together and intention. And I guess on some level, everyone must be here to be for their own personal growth and to grow together as a community, and to, on different levels to want that. So there is that common desire, I guess, even though it's not always obvious. And having some forums like the sensory meetings, and meetings for people to share and to be and to share their opinions and to express. I guess there's a space where people can do that to differing degrees. So yeah, but there's, you know, it's not so like a one line objective that I would say, and when that I would say that is clear for me. But I think that is part of its magic apparently as well, and I can see that in that, you know, it means different things to different people. So it kind of moulds to whoever's living here at that time.
Got a dynamic nature in that.
Yeah, it's really fluid because the volunteers come in and out, and the residents, you know, a bit more static. So it's got a very interesting mix.
Yeah, for sure. And so finally, what are you going to take away from Braziers into your daily life?
How to make beds with no. I've enjoyed the pace of slowing down here, and you know, it's been different for me because I've been working part-time in the community, working part-time in the normal world, and then I've been living here and volunteering here, so it feels like there's been two different worlds, and part of my intention of coming here was to see whether it could work to have to be living in community and still participate in activities in the outside world.
Does it?
Well, I think for me, whilst I'm here, it's slow pace, it's slower, and outside it's a lot more busy when I'm working. So for me, I think it can work, but it's been an experiment for Braziers as well because they've not had anyone like that before. So maybe
keeping with their nature then of trying new, being
experimental. Yeah, so it was an experiment, and I feel like it was quite intense for me working sort of 6 days, volunteering 3 days, and working 3 days. But I feel that this is a place where you could, come and shift into a very different space from your working world, and so it could be really, it is really beneficial to have that. And perhaps if I wasn't working or volunteering so much, I think I could appreciate it more, but I definitely feel there is potential there, and I think it would be a really powerful way of kind of encouraging, introducing people to a more holistic way of living, where the emphasis is different. It's not so much of a monetary emphasis in the same way that, you know, as a volunteer, obviously it's very different from, like, you know, your responsibilities of bills to pay, and this, you know, it's a very different kind of outlook and emphasis. So I think that could be really beneficial for people to look at and to connect with nature more. Yeah. So
great, thank you. Yeah.